Everyone has a console or video game system that they grew up with, even if they didn't play it much. People's childhoods will be remembered with different video game systems depending on when they were born. And for me, that was the Nintendo 3DS. I was a bit too old for the original DS. I had a friend who had one and we played it a lot when I went round his house, but I never actually got one of my own. I would beg and beg for one for my birthday every year until finally, when I was 7, my wish came true. I was given the money to go to my local game shop and buy a DS. Now I didn't actually pick out the DS I'm holding. I picked out a red and white Nintendo 2DS. And I couldn't really tell you why. I think I was under the impression that the 2DS was the only console that could play both games, as in the DS games and the 3DS games. And I've only sort of learnt recently that the 3DS can also do that. So realistically, it was probably the price point for me. Poor! But whatever it was, I'm really glad that I did buy it because it was probably my first proper introduction into gaming. I was allowed to buy 2 games with my Nintendo 2DS. I know, crazy. And the 2 games I picked out were Luigi's Mansion 2 and Sonic Lost World. One of them is an amazing game which I poured hours into, and I'm not ashamed to say I was kind of spooked on as a child, and the other one was Sonic Lost World.
You're a beta male, Sonic.
But of course, it didn't end there with my video game collection. That very same Christmas, I was given Pokemon Y by my uncle and aunt, and it's probably one of the best presents I've ever had. I maxed out the hours on Pokemon Y multiple times, and I actually went into the game shop to ask them how to reset it, because I'd done nearly everything in the game. I didn't really know that you could just look it up to see if you could reset it, but either way I did, and I replayed it about 7 or 8 times now. I could tell you so many things about the game. I could tell you some of the dialogue that the characters speak, the best places to grind for EXP, the best Pokemon to get to beat the league, the best movesets. It's crazy that I learned so much, and all taught by myself, from such a little machine. It had encapsulated me for days into playing Pokemon, and maybe that's a bad thing, but maybe that's a good thing. A couple years ago, my 2DS stopped working. It wouldn't work without being plugged into the charger, and then it wouldn't work at all.
You fell off, plus ratio, plus you're white, plus you're British, plus who asked?
I didn't know what was wrong, and for some reason I didn't really seem to care. I played all my games up to that point a lot, and I've been playing it less and less anyway. So it was put into my garage to collect dust for a few months, until I was informed that it had been thrown out. I don't know what I'd done to it to break it, but it was broken, and now it was gone. And this led me to the stupid decision of selling all my games for a new laptop, but I didn't know any better. I thought I'd never be playing these things again. I mean, the machine I used was broken, and what was I going to do with them now? This meant I sold all my Pokemon games, including Pokemon Platinum, which is £70 right now, for £15 each. But like I say, I didn't really care at the time. They were just collecting dust in the corner of a room, so what else was I going to do with them? And it was like that. For a few years, I just didn't really care. Up until 6 months ago. That was the day I caught wind of some new news about my beloved handheld. They were shutting down the eShop, the place I'd bought tons of games on as a kid. Pokemon Gold, for example, probably my best purchase on there, got me into old Pokemon games and into the Game Boy line of Pokemon games, which are probably now the ones that I've put the most hours into, so it's all really down to that. I was really sad by this news because it meant that I'd never ever be able to play these virtual console releases on a DS ever again. I go about the rest of my days never having been a part of the eShop's finale and never having a 3DS to play them on. But then I decided, gosh darn it, look at you, you incredibly handsome devil, you. You deserve this 3DS. You deserve to play these games just like everyone else. And it was then that I decided that I wanted to be a part of the final months of the 3DS's lifespan. I decided to buy a 3DS. Do a cool intro thing. This is my Nintendo 3DS, which I've played far too many hours on recently, which is partly why the upload schedule here is out the wazoo. But I needed to talk about this and share my favourite memories of my favourite handheld for the last time, because I don't want the 3DS to die. I hope that it will live on, cementing itself as one of the greats. And thankfully, I think it has. I've seen lots of videos recently reminiscing about the 3DS, reliving all the good memories about the simpler times, and it really does bring a smile to my face. As I said, my main point for buying this was to get in on the eShop action before it closes, So this small segment of the video is going to be dedicated to the eShop and all my thoughts about that, as well as some games that I think you should get in this last month before the eShop shuts down. Now I see a lot of people worrying because they actually don't know that you can put funds on the eShop still, because Nintendo announced that obviously you couldn't add funds directly anymore, but it's actually a lot simpler than it looks. You've got to go to the Nintendo website and make an account, and then go to the account settings. From there, go to your linked accounts. What you've got to do is link your Nintendo account with your Nintendo Network ID, which is on your 3DS. It's pretty easy to find, just look up how to find your ID and link it all up, it's easy as pie. Then go back to your account settings, click on the shop menu and click add funds. Select the amount you want to add, put in your payment and you're good to go. It's really that easy. It's a shame I see so many people worrying about not being able to buy these games when it's really just a 10-minute process and a free account sign up, so why not do it? So how about some recommendations? A lot of people will say to buy the eShop exclusives because physical releases are obviously going to be around a lot longer than the virtual releases because they actually have a set time date when they're going to leave. Whereas physical ones, you can usually find a copy, I mean you can for most 3DS games years after they've been released, even if they're a bit more expensive. So this will prioritize the virtual releases. But if you have some spare cheddar, I mean why not buy some other games as well? Some of the games are actually cheaper on the eShop than buying them physically, so why not? Personally, I picked out some Pokemon and Zelda titles I wanted, namely Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Crystal, which are the complete versions of Gen 1 and 2, as well as Zelda Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, which I just realised are actually two completely different games, unlike the dual releases of Pokemon, which are sort of the identical game. Seasons and Ages are different because one of them prioritises on puzzles and the other on action, so it's sort of two different experiences, which is great. I also picked up Link's Awakening DX, which is probably my favourite Zelda game to date. It's actually really fun, even though the graphics are a bit old. They're quite endearing and charming, so yeah, I would definitely recommend that Zelda game if you're only going to get one from the Virtual Console line. I also picked up Pokemon TCG Player. I've never played this game, but I decided that one rainy afternoon I might want to, so I got it now while I have the chance. Also, quick side note, you need to buy Pokemon Bank now. It's free, but then you might have to subscribe for a month because I believe the subscription is the only way you're able to get Pokemon Transporter, which is how you transfer Pokemon from Gen 4 and 5 upwards, and also from the Virtual Console releases. So what I've done is I got Pokemon Bank. It's like £5 for a subscription, so I got that really quickly so I could get Poke Transporter, and now I'm able to get Pokemon from my Crystal all the way into like Pokemon X and Y, Mega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, and then of course if you have a Switch you can transfer them up to your Switch. But as far as I know, you can't get Poke Transporter anywhere else. So you have been warned, get it now. After the eShop shuts down, Pokemon Bank is going to be free, so you are only going to have to pay for a 1-year subscription. So, you know, it's £5 out your pocket, you might as well do it. But I didn't want to completely miss out on the exclusives that weren't just your traditional Pokemon and Zelda titles. I also got a game called Miles and Kilo. It's a pretty obscure platformer, but it's just so refreshing. I love the art style, I love the simple but fun story. I love that it's my Mario replacement for now. I haven't got Mario Bros yet, as I know I can confidently pick up a copy for like £15, so there's no rush on that, and this is what I'm using as a replacement. I love that it's that perfect sweet spot of difficulty where I can sort of S-rank every level after a good amount of tries, but I'll never get triggered like, say if I was playing Geometry Dash or some other trigger game like that. And I love to support small indie games, so yeah, it's brilliant. That's your little eShop segment done. Let's move over to another common 3DSW. The 3DS, unlike the DS Lite, which is another beloved console of mine, comes with a wide variety of other apps. Mi Maker, Mi Plaza, Activity Log, Camera, Music, the list goes on. Just fun, silly, harmless, recreational joy, which is a complete bonus to the Nintendo 3DS itself. It's so cool that I can make Miis of me and my family and friends, and then even cooler that I can use them in Miitopia, which is another underrated game. I love taking pictures on the camera, it's actually so bad quality but really funny. Just to remind me of things, you know, goofy grins that I make, or my Christmas present haul.
Happy Christmas. Look what I got.
Just something about recording on the 3DS is really endearing. It's like an early VHS recorder or an old iPhone. I plan on making a full video one day just recorded on the 3DS, this little trooper of a machine. But the point of the 3DS is to game. And game I have. Game I have. I have got so many physical releases for the 3DS and my regular DS that I now have the ability to transfer Pokemon From Gen 4 to Gen 7. It's so cool my 3DS and regular DS can interact and trade with each other. It's amazing. I've relived so many memories playing through Pokemon Y again with the EXP share turned off this time, because otherwise it's sort of a cakewalk. I'm taking my time with the game, because I know it like the back of my hand. I'm also trying to complete the decks, which is a really hard task, but really fun, and I'm up for the challenge. I'm exploring new parts of Lumio City that I never did before. I always used to get lost as a kid because my sense of direction was awful. It was a huge city and I never read the dialogue.
Who asked?
Nor did I have any clue what a boulevard was. But now I go into the battle restaurants, I get my character's clothing changed, I get a haircut, I buy evolution stones, pokeballs, I've done the Looker side quest. There's so many cool things that I haven't really done before that I'm now getting to re-experience in a game that I thought I knew perfectly. But I've also played so many other games, like Miitopia I mentioned before, that are criminally underrated. Miitopia's music is actual fire, and this is the part of the video where I tell you, it's playing right now. Yokai Watch is another game near and dear to my heart which I've been replaying. How about Mario Kart? I've unlocked every character now, and I've also beat the cup in other versions than 50cc, which led me to discover that everyone has a third kart. Is it just me who did not know this? I always used to play in 50cc, so I guess I just never noticed, but this has opened up so much joy for me. I had no idea about this until now. I main Drybones in Mario Kart, and tearing through the cups with him has been an absolute blast again. But I didn't just buy the 3DS to relive old memories. I bought it in hopes that I could make new memories in the future. And towards that sentiment, I've started picking up new games, brand new games I never played in my childhood, that I've wanted to for a while, and this has given me the excuse to, including some games from the Virtual Console, like of course the Zelda games, which I'd never really played much of before, but also games like Super Smash Bros., which is so fun and I really want to get into. I haven't found my main yet. Pikachu is pretty fun, but I want to test out all the characters and actually get good at the game so I can see who's my favourite. Zelda Phantom Hourglass is another one that I picked up and has a really cute and endearing art style, so we'll see if that's for me. I actually couldn't play the game for a while because my DS that I ordered didn't come with a stylus, but I bought one recently just for it, so hopefully it'll be great. Zelda has been such a fun series to discover for me. The Oracle games, Link's Awakening, and now Phantom Hourglass. I can't wait to try the supposed true classics, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. They look so fun, and I've wanted to play them for a long time. When I was younger, none of my friends had a 3DS. They'd all moved on to the Xbox and PlayStation and what have you. And a part of me is sad for the younger me, that I had to play all these games alone, playing them without anyone to really understand or connect to about them. Having recently seen so many videos around the 3DS, and reminiscing about how great of a system it really was, I wish I could have seen it sooner. I wish I'd known that there was such a cool community for the DS family of games, because it would have let me know sooner that I wasn't alone in loving these games. Of course, I watched some YouTubers, namely Purple Rodri, who's pretty much my childhood for everything on the DS Nintendo sort of spectrum, as well as all the Pokemon games, so big shout outs to him. So for any other young me's who love the DS out there as much as I do, this video is for you. Keep using it, keep having fun, buy eShop games before they run out, and don't sell your collection. Take it from me, you'll always regret it. Wait, you can play Minecraft on this thing?